Okay, so for starters, I realize that parts of this is going to be out of focus, but it's all right because the main thing of what I want to share today is scan anxiety. So, what is that? So, it is anxiety around your um, scans, medical imaging tests, such as your CTs, your MRIs, your X-rays. Um, Cancer patients get these quite often to see if there's any tumors forming, and there's a certain level of anxiety that comes up around these, and they vary. I've had some scans that I didn't have any anxiety with, and I've had some that were, you know, almost crippling. And I mean, what I mean by that is that it took away all my motivation, all my anything that sounded like a good idea. I didn't want to do it. Some months, it got so bad that my depression was, I had to up my depression medicine just a little bit because I was just wound tight. Kind of felt like a cat in a front porch full of rocking chairs. I mean, it was just bad. And so I didn't know it was a real thing until I talked to some people and that know more than me and have experienced more than me, and they said it's very real. And I just recently, 2 weeks ago, last Thursday, was the 21-month in surveillance mode scans. Then this past Thursday, I had the scans read by the oncologist. And I will say about 4 to 5 weeks prior, my anxiety was pretty high. It was one of those where you just woke up and you felt off, and there was no rhyme or reason to feel down and out. Everything was, the sun was shining. There was no reason to feel upset, and I was just down. And I would get real spacey, like just kind of spaced out, like I'd be talking to them and I couldn't find words to express what I was thinking. I couldn't think. I would walk into the room and stand there and just turn around and be completely lost, like I've never been in this place before. Looking around, trying to remember why I walked in here. And I don't know if it's a result of the brain tumor surgery that I had, the brain's still healing, and then this acts up when the anxiety gets high, which the brain doctor said that could happen, and as long as it doesn't last more than a week at a time, then really not much to worry about there. But to go see him if it does last for a longer period of time. And I told the wife about it, and she's like, you have scans coming up. And I went, that's it. That's what this is. So let me take a minute and discuss some of the things that I do when the anxiety gets high. And I find that physical labor is what does it for me. Like, I would go outside and I'd rake up all the leaves or the grass and the tree line around the house. Or we had Hurricane Helene came in and dropped some brush and tree limbs and stuff, and I would have to go out and cut all that down. But instead of using the big power tools, I'd get hand tools and try to do what I could with that. If I go out in the garage, then I try to do the physically exhausting chores or projects to wear myself out. And then I find that I need to get by water. I need to be down by the river like just sitting over at the fountain downtown, sitting by the lake, I got a fishing rod in hand, but, just sitting by the lake, not really concentrating on the fish, but the lake. And, just trying to find that inner peace. And I like to take walks. The group that I'm with, we walk at 5 in the morning to 6 in the morning. And that's great for melanoma because the sun's not out. And there's times in the afternoon where I'm just like wound tight and I'm like, I gotta go. And I'll just grab a dog, and because we have 2, I'll grab the dogs and we'll just take a little mile walk. Or if it's really bad, I get out the old bicycle, and that will wear you out pretty quickly. I also have to really watch eating because I'm a comfort food eater, or an emotional eater. So when I am wound up, I like to eat, and maybe the healthy stuff, but I overeat. And I tend to lean more towards the stuff that I don't normally eat because I want that comfort in carbs. And during this time, I find it hard to read. But when I do sit down and read, of course, it's different Bible verses or whatever. Little stories. I try to get lost in the stories and the fables from the Bible. About the mustard seed, and then I look up a whole bunch about the mustard seed, or the life story of David, or something like that, to where it takes me out of where I'm at now. Star Wars books is another wonderful thing that I read just to get me out of where I'm at now, and not to think about what's could happen, gonna happen, yada yada yada. Sometimes it's good to sit down with another cancer patient, survivor, warrior, and hear their side of the story. There's several books out, and I was gifted a few where people were telling their story and their journey, and you find hope and comfort in a way that you're not the only one going through this. So is there other ways to combat it? I'm sure there is. Everybody's different. These are just some of the things that I find that help. Just keeping active to where I'm not thinking about it. And it's always in the back of your mind. And even though that personally and physically that everything's going to be great, they say just get over it, don't think about it. It's hard. Because with melanoma, your skin is always changing. So you're always constantly watching, did that get bigger? Did it change color? There has been some that it hasn't come back for decades, and that's amazing. Then there's those that it comes back before the next set of scans. Fortunately with me, so far, the immunotherapy did its job, and I am 21 months out of treatment in surveillance mode, and we are currently going out 4 months. So I'll have scans every 4 months for the next year. So then the thing is with scan anxiety is your caregiver also goes through it, your family, your wife, your spouse, your kids, they go through scan anxiety, but they go through it differently. Like my kids notice a difference in me, and they're like, what's going on? You're a little off. And my wife, she's kind of the same way. She loses motivation. She likes to sleep a lot more. She just kind of almost turns into hibernation. Like she just doesn't want to do anything. And we won't fully understand what it is until we look on the calendar. We flip the month of the scan, like when we flip the calendar up, and then that says scans really big. So we're like, oh, daggone it. And my kids are older, you know, they're in their 19s, 20s and up, and they try to be more encouraging and cheerful. I do have to say that in the morning when I go in for my blood work, the nurses are always so happy, and them smiling helps take the edge off. All the staff, when they come to get you for your to go back to see the oncologist or take your temperature, or you know, the dermatologist looks at you, and the little girl that's doing the scribing or the note taking, they're genuinely in a good mood, and that for me helps lighten up this bit of anxiety when it's almost the highest. The nurses and the staff, they get it. Sometimes it's just that smile from a stranger that can turn that whole day upside down. So one thing that we do, and we've done since treatment, was we would celebrate the end of the day at the hospital with caribou coffee. It was right there on the 3rd floor of the Levine Hospital, and before we take the sky deck walk out to the parking garage. And that has become the celebration of the end of the day at the hospital. So when we got done with our scans Thursday, we made sure to go in and get a caribou coffee. And I would like to hear other people, survivors, how you celebrate your results of your scans, and put those in the comments. And if you don't do something special, start, because for me that kicks off the, hey, good job, now you're ready to live again for the next 3 months. Or my scans now have been pushed out to 4 months. So, congratulations on winning this battle in the war.